Ombudsman Conchita Carpio Morales, Professor Solita Monson, Asian Development Bank Country Director Narej Jain, National Competitiveness Council Co-Chair Guilherme Luz, Rappler Editor Marites Vitung, Philippine Institute of Certified Public Accountants Committee Chair Normita Villaruz, colleagues from the Office of the Ombudsman, partners and friends from civil society, government, the private sector, media, academy, and development agencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Before anything else, please let me congratulate the Ombudsman and her team for their remarkable performance, having filed 747 cases against government officials with the Sadigambayan in the first half of 2013, the highest of the 16 years since 1998. Please let's join me in giving the Office of the Ombudsman a big round of applause. As it celebrates its 25th year, UNDP, on behalf of the UN, is happy to support this partnership with the Office of the Ombudsman in its year-long integrity caravan that calls for government, communities, and citizens, Manindingan contra Katiwalian, to take a united stand against corruption. The caravan's theme on integrity, truth, and citizenship engagement is not only timely, but very instrumental as the need to restore public trust and confidence in public actors becomes urgently critical. The Corruption Perception Index rating of recent years shows that the Philippines is beginning to win ground in the battle. It moved its rank among countries across the globe from 134th to 129th in 2011. It has done even better in 2012, moving up 24 points to the 105th position. These gains have been somewhat overshadowed by new reports that at least 100 billion pesos PDAF allocation have been channeled by lawmakers to bogus NGOs, something that we see the society, the government, the state leaders fighting against. Billion lost to corruption means greater vulnerability to the capacity and effectiveness of public investment. In concrete terms, it means inability to meet urgent internal needs and international commitments, such as the Millennium Development Goals, since corruption also means less classrooms, less hospitals, less kilometers of farm-to-market roads, less medicine and services for communities, less potable water for waterless villages, etc. In all this aspect, it is the poor, especially the indigenous people, the unemployed and the underemployed, the daily wage earners, small farmers and fishermen folks who suffer the most. Now, more than ever, it is important for government, private sector and civil society organizations, especially those present here today, to maintain the urgency to strengthen existing institutions and mechanisms to hold government more accountable to the Philippine people in the fight against corruption, if the fight against corruption is to be won. We must understand that corruption is principally a governance issue. Our focus on governance provides the ideal platform for an integrated and holistic approach in combating corruption at all levels. The United Nations Convention Against Corruption, or UNCAC, can play a fundamental role. Adopted by the UN General Assembly in 2003 and ratified by the Philippines in 2006, the UNCAC is a legally binding instrument of concrete anti-corruption measures. These include the criminalization of corrupt conduct, the strengthening of international law enforcement and judicial cooperation, and the provision of legal mechanisms for asset recovery, technical assistance, and information exchange. The UNCAC, therefore, serves as an effective and comprehensive framework by which we can equip, arm, and organize ourselves in the battle against corruption. The Philippines recently conducted its periodical UNCAC review. It was in end of 2012. The outcome of the review process of UNCAC implementation in the Philippines present a huge opportunity for building wide consensus for political and policy reform to address corruption at the national and local levels. Recognize that the issues and the response needed to address corruption are complex. But evidence from specific cases that have mainstreaming it in good governance and anti-corruption measures into sectorial reforms and plans leads to better results. In this way, anti-corruption efforts become more focused and contextualized within the realities and challenges of a particular sector. Each sector has its own vulnerabilities, and customized solutions can better address these weaknesses. Participatory public finances is another lens that can be efficiently employed to fight corruption. Fiscal policy determines how, where, and to what extent public funds should be made available to achieve development outcomes and commitments. Good fiscal governance through participatory public finance provides the transparent political decision-making process and administrative procedures that put citizens' participation and control at its core, leading to an enhanced transparency, legitimacy, and predictability in public finance processes. Uprooting of corruption is the responsibility of each and every citizen, and that of both the public and private sector. It's only through the engagement and commitment of all stakeholders in all walks of life that the Philippines may succeed in achieving its goals of creating an uncorruptible society. The Philippine peoples and civil society organizations mounting clamor for integrity, transparency, and accountability in the country governance is growing. It was felt when thousands of citizens joined the OMB's March of Rightness in December 9th last year, and we have seen it again in the people's outcry against corruption in the Million March last Monday against pork barrel. Thus, we should continue to support the strengthening of the capacities of the citizens and organized group to perform oversight roles and engage with the government at various levels and in all phases of public finances, such as revenue generation, budgeting, public expenditure, debt management, and audit. We recognize in all these the critical role of the media, particularly social media, not only to monitor the progress of anti-corruption efforts, but more importantly, to mobilize people to push government action to institute needed reform. This forum we have today could very well be the first of a series of dialogues between the government, private sector, and civil society leaders to thresh out possible directions that can be taken to move forward and address the problems of corruption, especially in the light of recent developments. In closing, we salute the Interagency Anti-Graft Condemnation Council and the Special Interagency Task Force headed by the Ombudsman together with the Department of Justice and the Commission of Audit for leading the joint investigation into the allegation of PDAF misuse, but more importantly, by working together to uphold integrity and accountability in the public services. Also, we acknowledge the partners in government, business sector, civil society, and the Filipino people, eagerness and determination to halt corruption. Please be assured that from the UNDP and United Nations side, we will continue to sustain and expand our partnership, that we consider ourselves privileged to provide our assistance in any way possible in the support of anti-corruption initiatives in the country. You are and shall continue to be the champions and movers towards the realization of a corrupt-free society. Maraming salamat po at mabuhay tayong lahat.